Hi, welcome. So, we've learned a lot in this series. We started with core and soft skills for data analysts. Then we started the technical skills with Excel, second SQL, third Power BI, and now we want to learn Python, which would be for some of you your first ever programming language. So it is really good to learn Python, and I'm going to give you some key reasons why Python is good for a data analyst to learn. So the first thing is that Python is very easy to learn. So if it's your first time learning any programming language, then Python is a very good one to start with because the syntax is just like plain English. And from there, you can decide to learn maybe R after that or learn other programming languages to further your knowledge. But then in the beginning, if you start with Python, you would easily be able to get your foot into the programming world. The second thing about Python is that Python has lots of libraries, lots of packages that people have created and have contributed and have put for you since it's open source. So any problem you think of, there is probably already a library to solve that problem for you. So there are so many libraries, so many things you can do with Python. Other people have already contributed those and left for you. The third reason to learn Python is that Python, you can use it to do web app development. You can use it to do scripting and automation for DevOps. You can use it for machine learning. So you can pivot from your data analysis to other skills, or use your Python to wrap your data analysis output like a web app and then be able to serve it to the world. So Python gives you that flexibility. It's very dynamic, it's very versatile. So you don't only use it for web app, you learn web app, you learn data analysis, you learn machine learning. You can use it to do almost everything you can imagine. And then the fourth thing is that Python is very, very popular. And then there is a huge demand for it as well because almost every company wants to use Python. And at the same time, there's demand for people who are skilled in Python. So I hope this gives you some motivation to be able to learn this Python from today until the end of the series so that you can be able to pick up these skills that are in high demand nowadays. So let's go to the computer and I'll show you how to install Python. And in this case, installing Anaconda, which would be the environment we would use to enable us to be able to do our Python notebooks easily and tell our story as data analysts. So let's just go to the computer and install Anaconda. So installing Python, there are so many ways. You could have said, I want to do a Python download. Then you click here. And then if you click here too, you should see that you can download Python from here. The version 3.11 is the latest. Or you can go down here and download earlier versions. So this is one way. Downloading it like this, you can link it up with your IDE like VS Code or PyCharm or whatever you're comfortable with, and then you run your Python scripts from there. That is one way of doing it. The other way is going through Anaconda so that you can have access to the Python notebooks. So this is usually the most popular way for beginners to start with because most of our job as data analysts is storytelling, being able to analyze data, do some exploratory data analysis in several steps, cleaning. So using something like Anaconda or the whole idea of using Python notebooks is good because you'll be able to see how you can get your analysis and leave comments around each finding so that somebody going through your notebook will be able to get the same insight like you. So here we just need to click on download, and I already have it downloaded here. So I will just click to launch it because I already downloaded it and I don't need to download it again. So if I click on it here, so you just need to wait for it to complete the download, and then you're going to click and installation will start here. So if you go to next, for example, I've already installed it. So if I click on I agree, and then install for just me. So now it's going to install here, see users, and if I click on next, normally it's just going to go on with the installation. So you just need to go on. I already have it installed, so that's why it's having this error saying this path is not empty. Please choose a different location. So just go ahead and click on next if it's your first time, and it's going to take a couple of minutes to complete the installation. So I have already installed it. I'm going to quit. Are you sure you want to quit? Yes, I'm going to quit, and then Anaconda is there. So now if I click here, I can either open the Anaconda prompt like you can see here, or the Anaconda navigator with so many interesting things there, or I could go directly and open up the Jupyter notebook, which is what we would mostly be using, the Jupyter notebook. So here, if I click on the Jupyter notebook like I've clicked there, so you just search, click on Jupyter notebook, choose this one. This is, so it's running, and it automatically launches this. So this is also at the same time as I clicked on the Anaconda to open here, as I clicked on this Anaconda here, Anaconda navigator. So if you see, it's opening at the same time. So but then this is already your Jupyter notebook. It's already your Jupyter notebook. So if you want to wait to see what Anaconda navigator has to offer, we can all wait and see what it has to offer. But then we'll mostly be using the Jupyter notebook here directly to do our work throughout this series. So it's a very interesting thing to have Anaconda because it has so much in store for you, and most of the time all you need to do is use Jupyter notebook to open up a page like this directly. So if we click on new here, and then we choose a Python 3 here, so when we click on that now, this is already our Python notebook open for us. So what is loading is the Anaconda navigator. So we can just get a peep of it. So if you see, the Anaconda navigator has Jupyter notebook as just one of the services offering. So I could launch the Jupyter notebook from here still, and which is what we have here. Or if you prefer, some people prefer using the Spider interface, or you could launch to VS Code if that's what you're comfortable with, or you could launch PyCharm. So and then you have RStudio here, which you could also use for the Anaconda. So there's lots of things that the Anaconda can do, and it has all this, orange has all these possibilities. But for now, we are not going to use the Anaconda navigator, so I'll quit. We are just going to focus on Jupyter notebook, and then it takes us here automatically. So if it doesn't open, just click your default browser, open it up for the Jupyter notebook. But most of the time, Jupyter notebook is going to launch your default browser for you directly without you doing anything. All you need to do is just type your Jupyter notebook here, and it's going to launch it for you automatically like this. So here we are. This is where we'll be doing most of our work. And then we have our, if you see here, your file. So you can create a new notebook again at the side, just like this, another notebook, or you can be able to make a copy, save as, rename, save and checkpoint. So, and then you can download the file after you finish working with it. You can download it most of the time as the IPython notebook, because this is the IPython notebook. And then you can also have the .py file, which is the Python file that if you are using the VS Code without necessarily going through the notebook, you would be using the .py file. So don't bother too much. Just know that you're just going to launch Jupyter notebook, open up this page, and from here we are going to be doing our work in Python, and we're going to go gradually. So today, this should be your first thing, and you want to print, and then your first thing is to print your hello world. So this is how you do. So if you run it here, so you can click on run here, and there you have it. You have your first hello world. So we are going to be introducing you to the functionalities of the Jupyter notebook gradually as we proceed in this series. but the basic thing is you write your code here, and at times you might want to write a markdown here, which should be like notes. So write something like this is a note, it's a note. Then you run it, you wouldn't get an error because there is no code line here. But if you do it here, this is a note. Already you start seeing Python is trying to see what you want to say here, and when you run it, you get an error. So you just know that you can either write a code or a markdown for now, and this markdown will be where you'll be leaving your comments, and code will be where you want Python to do all the calculations that you want it to do. So just ensure you install Python, and then we are going to continue with learning all the things that Python can do for data analysts. So I hope this video has motivated you to be able to take on this Python challenge to the end, and has also given you a guide on how to install Anaconda and get ready for the next couple of videos in this series. See you next video. Wish you good data luck.